Hey there, welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. And my goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can decide whether or not you want to spend time or money or both sometimes watching a particular movie. So if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I truly appreciate your support. And you have probably seen that I always reply to comments. So comment down below. That always spreads magical YouTube fairy dust all over my channel. And if you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I've been waiting for you. Now, the movie I'm reviewing today is called The Oath. This action drama is now playing in select theaters. The film is rated PG-13 and is an hour and 44 minutes long. My overall movie review mom grade is a C. Now, some people would say, oh, that's a terrible score. A C means average. Now, I feel like a schmuck for saying that because I really wanted this movie to be fantastic. I'll get more into that. First, what I'm going to do is give you an overview of the film, and then I'll point out things I liked, things I didn't like, tips for parents, themes worth talking about, funny lines, interesting lines, and recommendations for other films that are sort of similar that you might also like if you like this one, or maybe you'll like the other ones even more. All right, so you ready to dive in? Me too. The film was directed by Darren Scott, who also produced the movie and starred in it. The writers were Darren Scott and Michelle Scott. So the story takes place in ancient America around 400 AD. A lone Hebraic fugitive of people called the Nephites must preserve the history of their fallen nation while being hunted by a ruthless tyrant. Rescuing the king's abused mistress awakens this warrior's past. The warrior's name, Moroni. Now, the story takes fictional liberties with historical events that are documented in the Book of Mormon, which is a record of ancient America beginning around AD 600. Members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will immediately recognize who this featured man is and what he's doing at the beginning of the film, as well as at the end. Others might be confused about the story that's being told because not everything is explained very well. Unfortunately, most of the movie does not depict true events, but a fictionalized romance. Now, here's the list of things that I really liked about the movie. So first of all, I thought the cast members did a really great job and include Billy Zane. He's probably, by the way, the most famous actor that's in this movie that you'll even recognize. Darren Scott, who is almost in every single scene. Eugene Brave Rock, Karina Lombard, and a few others. The cast is actually very small. I don't mind small ensemble casts, but I think the movie felt less epic because we didn't see this big, massive civilization where this king is from. And so we just see a few people running around in the forest, mostly during the whole movie. At the end of the film, we read some information on the screen. We learn that the plate that we see Moroni bury into the ground were found and actually translated into English. The book was published in 1830 and is considered the fourth most influential book in American literature, as stated by the U.S. Library of Congress. And by the way, I have some books in the Library of Congress. And if you've never been there, it is gorgeous inside. Add that to one of your tourist stops if you go to Washington, D.C. Back to the movie. The book that contains the record of these civilizations that lived in ancient America on the American continent for many, many centuries is called The Book of Mormon, Another Testament of Jesus Christ. Now, if your curiosity is piqued and you want to know who were these civilizations, I mean, mostly we know about the Incas down in the Peruvian area, the Olmecs, and then moving up into the Mexican area, the Aztecs. But other than that, we don't know of farther or of older civilizations. And so if you're curious, read the Book of Mormon. It starts with a family that leaves actually from Israel and crosses the ocean into what is today South America, or some, actually, we don't know for sure, South America, Central America, even some people think it was North America. Anyway, there are records that actually verify these things in the Book of Mormon. So just giving you a heads up, if you want to know more, read the Book of Mormon. Know that the Book of Mormon is another testament of Jesus Christ. So while the history is fascinating and true, the crux of the Book of Mormon is that Jesus Christ is the Savior of the world. Like the Bible that testifies of Jesus Christ and tells a historical account of what happened in the ancient world on the other side of the globe, we get to learn about these civilizations and what they knew about Jesus Christ. Fascinating. And yes, I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So you can always ask me questions too. All right, back to the movie. So with the praise that I want to give to the movie, there were quite a few things that I didn't like or just hoped could have been done better. For example, I really wanted this movie to be epic, and it's just not. There are quite a few slow motion flashbacks that might confuse viewers because we aren't given the full story about what happened in the past and how it all ties into what we're seeing in this present part of the filming. The editing is especially choppy during those moments. The film assumes that you already know the history and the story. Now, the movie doesn't feel like a super Christian movie, and the movie feels like probably more of a fictional account anyway. And in reality, the Book of Mormon, as I mentioned, is both. The music in the background was often louder than the voice track, making it really hard to hear what was said. Now, don't get me wrong, I thought that the soundtrack was lovely, just a little bit overbearing through most of the film. The color correction of the movie makes many of the scenes very dark visually, which is going to make it difficult to view if you watch this on a small device once it goes to streaming. Now, it's not entirely clear what is contained in the plates that the protagonist tries to protect. And I wish that had just been made a little bit more obvious, and why that oath was so important to him and why he was so passionate about it. The Book of Mormon's focus, as I mentioned, is on Jesus Christ as the Savior of the world. Yet, the movie doesn't talk about Jesus that much. I mentioned that earlier. The real story of Moroni is fascinating as we learn about his father and the battles and the things that happened before the short events that we see in this movie. And so what the movie, again, gives you is a fictional love story that doesn't even exist in the Book of Mormon. Now, it could have happened that way. We don't know. It's just not recorded in the Book of Mormon. Most of the scenes are very slow, with characters pondering or staring off into the sunset. There isn't much action until the very end of Act 3, really. Some viewers are going to be bored waiting for something to happen. It's assumed that the audience is going to root for Moroni, yet we aren't given much information about him and how he was a prophet or a warrior. We don't get a lot of details on that to know that he really was a really great guy. One of the characters kept slipping in and out of what sounded like an Irish accent. I was like, wait, what the heck? What? And there are some very bad acting moments. Now, let me give you some tips for parents. I think kids are going to be very bored. It's family friendly in that it's rated PG-13, but I think also some adults are going to be bored, again, waiting for something to happen. A man is violent with a woman. The language bounces from English to subtitles in random ways. And that happens mostly in Act 1. And so if you have young children, they won't be able to read the subtitles and know what's being said. There is bloodless violence, which is great, but we do see blood when someone is killed. We see, kind of some blood smears. There is romantic affection, but no scenes of intimacy. And I always appreciate that. We don't have to see nudity to understand that there's a romantic, intimate relationship between people. An important character dies. we see an attempt at some brutal deaths, but we're spared from having to watch the actual ordeal and the details. It's not like a horror movie or anything like that, thank goodness. Some of the themes that are illustrated very well are freedom, love, purpose, promises, ancestry, forgiveness, peace, survival, and redemption. So whenever I watch movies, I write down interesting lines and funny lines solely to share them with you so you get a taste of the dialogue and the script writing quality. You can see all of them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. I'll share a few of them with you right now, though. So Moroni yells out during this one moment in Act 3, I think it was in Act 3, he says, Aaron, I'll never call you king. And it's, I don't know, it kind of made me laugh the way that it was spoken. I don't know if you will have that same reaction that I did, but then some interesting lines are one spoken by Bathsheba. Now, the name Bathsheba is so filled with certain connotations from the Bible. Again, it's a fictional character. It could have been any name, but that name sort of connotes that she was bad and tempting. She was a mistress of King Aaron. Again, not recorded in the Book of Mormon, but anyway, and so she says to Moroni, I learn, you teach. And because of that line and a few other things, some people have complained that the movie sort of promotes a white savior character in Moroni, that he is so wise and she is, brown and uneducated. And maybe that was true. I don't know, but anyway, so that little line is just sort of loaded. And then another line that's interesting is when King Aaron says to Moroni, no one will remember your name. And of course, millions around the world do know the name of Moroni. All right, so let me give you some recommendations for some other films that instantly came to my mind as I was watching this movie. The first one is Last of the Mohicans, and it tells the story of one of the last of the famous Native American tribes, and it is very well done, much more so than this film, unfortunately. Another really interesting movie, although rated R, is Apocalypto. This one was directed by Mel Gibson and is filled with violent, bloody, and gory and brutal images, but it really captures that civilization that would have existed back then. Of course, it's fictionalized, but some explanation of what these ancient pyramids might have been used for. And then I won't tell you the ending. The movie's been around for a long time, but you just instantly get engulfed in this society, the civilization. And then the ending just throws you for a loop where you're like, whoa, I thought it was really powerful. And then another movie is called Gladiator. Now, the time period is totally different, but again, it's got some of the dramatic, epic moments of a society or of a civilization that used to be, and the battle and the warrior and all of that kind of stuff. It's a terrific movie. Anyway, hopefully you'll enjoy those movies if you watch them. And again, actually, I think they're all three of them are rated R. So just a heads up on the content of that. All right. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. When you get a minute, run over to Instagram. You can find me as Movie Review Mom, of course, but you can also follow me as Trina Boice, which is my name. And you can find my books that are offered for free on Amazon. Usually I've got something every month and sometimes every week on the weekends, as well as my online courses and some of my other shenanigans that I'm up to. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.